Let's now get you the latest from the 16th BRICS Summit in Kazan in Russia. On the final day of the summit, the Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Chinese President Xi Jinping have sounded alarm over the escalating tensions in West Asia. At the summit, the Russian President Vladimir Putin warned that West Asia is in fact on the verge of an all-out war.
The military action that started a year ago in Gaza has now spread to Lebanon. Other countries in the region are also affected. The level of confrontation between Israel and Iran has sharply risen. This is all reminiscent of a chain reaction and puts the whole Middle East on the verge of full-scale war.
On the other hand, China's President Xi Jinping said that the world still faces serious challenges to its peaceful development and has called for a total ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and to stop the spread of war in Lebanon.
全球南方国家共同迈向现代化，是世界历史上一件大事，也是人类文明进程中史无前例的壮举。同时，世界和平和发展仍面临。
The 36 countries are participating in the BRICS Outreach Plus format on the final day of the summit in Russia's Kazan. This comes a day after the BRICS leaders adopted the Kazan Summit Declaration, which summarized the summit's outcome and Russia's term as BRICS chair. At the BRICS Plus Summit, India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said that the world order is changing, international law must be respected, and there must be zero tolerance for terrorism.
Addressing conflicts and tensions effectively is a particular need of the day. Prime Minister Modi has emphasized that this is not an era of war. Disputes and differences must be settled by dialogue and diplomacy. Agreements, once reached, must be scrupulously respected. International law should be adhered to without exception, and there should be zero tolerance for terrorism.
On the sidelines of the BRICS Summit, the Indian Prime Minister and the Chinese President Xi Jinping took the very first step towards thawing the bilateral ties which have been frozen for almost 5 years now. The two leaders underlined that maintaining peace on the border should be their priority. The meeting, of course, came after India and China announced a patrolling arrangement along the line of actual control. So this, of course, is the latest in terms of what's been unfolding at the BRICS Plus Summit. And this, remember, is an important one which has been underscored in terms of how the international world order is changing. And WION's Siddhant Zibil is, of course, joining us with more updates from Kazan in Russia. Siddhant, the fact that the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, was, of course, present as part of this BRICS Plus, tell us what is the significance of it?
Well, the fact that the UN SG was also present at the BRICS Plus meet shows that when it comes to the grouping and the host, Russia's priority, it is an inclusive meeting that took place earlier today, the BRICS Plus meeting. Remember that yesterday, while the BRICS member met, today not only the BRICS members but invited countries, the guest countries, Russia's neighbors, and of course the head of bodies like the United Nations are also present. Now, two significant aspects. First, of course, the presence of the Palestinian president here in Kazan, invited by the Russian president. In fact, both the leaders will be having a bilateral, and most of the leaders, in fact, all of the leaders during their statements earlier today mentioned about the worsening situation in West Asia. The second, of course, the presence of the UN SG, who was recently debarred from entering Israel, declared persona non grata by the Israeli foreign minister on the social media post, though it is not legally binding in the country. That is a political rhetoric by Israel. Now, both these developments will be closely watched in Israel, even as Russia will be seen as an important stakeholder when it comes to West Asia crisis. How Russia negotiates in terms of various stakeholders is something that will be closely watched. We know that not only Russia but other leaders as well. The Iranian president is also present here in Kazan. Iran is a member of the BRICS grouping, and there was a meeting between the Iranian president and the Indian Prime Minister where the situation in West Asia was one of the key focus areas. The Indian External Affairs Minister also during his address mentioned about the worsening situation in West Asia and backed the two-state solution.
And also very quickly, Siddhant, if you can weigh in on this, ever since the breakout of the Russia-Ukraine war and subsequently the war that we are seeing in West Asia, the West, led by the United States of America, has been trying very hard to try and in many ways try and isolate countries such as Russia and Iran. But the BRICS summit that we've just witnessed in Kazan points out that the world order is quite clearly changing.
Let me quote from what the Indian External Affairs Minister said, that the BRICS is a statement of a new geopolitical order. He said this earlier today at the BRICS Plus meeting, and that's basically sums up the mood on the ground here in Kazan as to how there is emergence of a non-Western world order, and Russia has taken a major lead. If you look at what happened here in Kazan, there was focus on several issues, whether it is the expansion of the grouping, whether it is the non-Western payments mechanism that has been the key focus area, with countries calling for trading in the national currencies, or whether it's a message from Moscow to the West that it is not isolated. It has number of friends in the global south and two major friends in Asia, both China and Russia. The fact that there were several pictures of the Russian president flanked by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Chinese President Xi Jinping, these pictures speak much more than, of course, was spoken publicly here in Kazan. And this is something that is closely being observed in Western capitals, including in Washington.
All right, we'll have to leave there. Thank you very much indeed, Siddhant Zibbal, for joining us and getting us those updates then. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.